pretty self-explanatory. The top 10 greatest mid-range shooters in NBA history. The mid-range jumper was the crown jewel of NBA scoring, now considered a dying art in today's three-point shooting heavy game. But for decades, the mid-range shot has been the weapon of legends. Some players elevated it into an unstoppable art form, carrying teams, winning championships, rings, and cementing legacies from 10, 15, 20 feet. Today, we're ranking the top 10 mid-range shooters in NBA history, a list that balances skill, efficiency, aesthetics, and clutch performances in the mid-range. Coming in at number 10, we got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai is the youngest name on this list, but he's already established himself as the modern mid-range king. His driving game is elite, but what separates him is the ability to stop on a dime and rise up for a smooth, controlled midi in terms of his mid-range pull-ups. In the 2023 and 2024 seasons, he led the NBA in mid-range efficiency, even surpassing some legends like KD. Legends like KD and Kawhi. Shai combines craft and even elite mid-range shooters that are in their mid-30s like DeMar. Shai combines craft, footwork, patience that feels like a throwback to Kobe and MJ, and has been better than CP3 in the mid-range shoot for a while now. So why number 10? He's still building his resume, but if he continues on this trajectory, Shai could climb this list fast, and I do believe he will. I just can't put him above some other legends who had a larger size of sample size, larger sample size of doing this in the mid-range, have had better numbers in terms of longevity, have had more consistent clutch performances, and just were even a little bit better in the mid-range, guys like MJ, KD, Kobe, etc. So coming in at number 9, we got Larry Bird. Bird is mostly remembered for his shooting touch and passing, but his mid-range game was underrated. He was a master of the pull-up, the face-up jumper, and the turnaround, also known for his all-around game too. His size and release made him nearly impossible to contest at 6'9", barefoot, 220 pounds. Bird's mid-range game was key to his 3 MVPs and Celtics' dominance in the 80s, especially the mid part. His ability to torch defenses from the elbow or baseline kept defenses, or even around the nail, kept defenses honest before the three-point revolution. Way before the three-point revolution, actually, about 30-ish years before Steph's peak as a player too. So why not? Because his mid-range was great, but he's remembered more for his all-around shooting touch and versatility than the strictly mid-range dominance. We also don't have that many numbers for Bird in his mid-range, and it's heavily eye test, and I love doing that too, but numbers and clutch performances can also help too. Coming in at number 8, we got DeMar DeRozan. In the modern NBA, where analytics killed the mid-range, DeRozan embraced it. His entire career is, or at least damn near all of it, is built on that 15, 10, 20-foot jumper. With Toronto, San Antonio, and Chicago, DeRozan has made a living torturing the defenders with pull-ups and fadeaways. DeMar isn't just volume, he's clutch. In the 2022 season, he set records for buzzer beaters, most of them mid-range jaggers. He actually, and in 2024, he actually gave Steph a run for his money, finished runner-up in the Clutch Player of the Year voting in only his second year of being an award. Why number 8? He doesn't have the championship resume of the guys above him, but that's pretty much irrelevant. This combo is just strictly mid-range shooting. But in terms of pure dedication to the mid-range in the analytics era, DeMar is unmatched. So you have to give him credit for that. He's even had more longevity than some players like Larry Bird, and I just had to put him here. Coming in at number 7, we got Carmelo Anthony. Melo's mid-range game was pure scoring beauty. Jab step, triple threat pull-up, spin into fade. Melo had every tool in the mid-range arsenal. At his peak in Denver, New York, his mid-range jumper made him one of the most unguardable scorers alive, and even at his best, one of the 5 to 10 best basketball players in the world in general. Melo was never the most efficient, but his tough shot-making ability wasn't real. Hand in his face didn't matter. Body draped over him, still buckets. Pulse game, self-creation, ISO game, triple threat, anything. Melo was just unguardable, unstoppable. But why number 7? Because his mid-range talent was undeniable, but he leaned too much on tough shots, keeping his efficiency a notch below the very top guys on this list. His clutch performances were good. Those were mostly regular season shots, and his playoff overall clutch can also be questionable. But his bag was there, and I had to put him on number 7. Coming in on number 6, we got Chris Paul. CP3 is a point guy, not only in general, but of the mid range. Pick and roll pull up is his signature, coming off that pin down screen for an elbow jumper. For nearly 2 decades, defenses knew what was coming. Snake dribble, stop on a dime, pull up from 15 feet, and they still couldn't stop it. From '06 to 2022-ish. Chris Paul's mid-range game has aged beautifully. Even in his mid-30s, his mid-range jumper remained automatic, fueling Phoenix's finals run just 4 years ago in 2025, in 2021. So why is he number 6? He doesn't have the size or variety of the names above, nor was he that pure mid-range killer or clutch time assassin that the top 5 guys were. But as a pure technician, CP3's pick and roll mid-range shot is one of the most reliable, efficient, unstoppable weapons ever. And you'd love to have him and his mid-range jumper on your team. Coming in at number 5, we got Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi is a modern-day mid-range assassin. In an era where the mid-range is deemed inefficient, in quotation marks, Kawhi made it his calling card. His pull-up from the elbows robotic, mechanically perfect, always under control. His 2019 playoff run with Toronto proved how deadly it was. The Sixers, Bucks, and Warriors, all favored against Toronto, by the way, had no answer for his mid-range pull-ups, an unstoppable shot. Obviously, that Game 7 buzzer beat over Philly, mid-range jumper, even though it looked like a 3, still a midi. 20, I think it was 20-some feet, but yeah. His finals MVP with the Spurs in 2014, both built on those exact same shots, ironically were 2 playoff runs where he won his finals MVP. Why number 5? Kawhi's efficiency and calmness are elite, but his volume isn't quite as high as the legends above him, nor does his bag look as appealing. Man, in terms of efficiency, volume, and consistency, I just couldn't put Kawhi in the top 4. Which is why number 4, Dirk Nowitzki, Dirk is above him. Dirk changed the game for big men. At 7 feet tall, he turned the mid-range into his personal playground. His patented one-legged fadeaway became one of the most unstoppable shots in NBA history. Defenders could contend it perfectly, and it didn't matter. That 7 feet tall, almost 250-pound stature, with an unguardable post game, still, especially post mid 2000s, was unmatched. Dirk's mid-range jumper carried him to an MVP in '07 and one of the greatest playoff runs ever in 2011. He dismantled teams like the Lakers with Kobe and Powell, Thunder with KD and Russ, and the Heat with LeBron and D Wade with his elbow jumpers and baseline fades. So why number 4? Because Dirk's signature shot might be the most iconic mid-range weapon ever, even besides MJ and Kobe's fadeaway, but he didn't have the all-around mid-range versatility of the top 3 guys, aka, as y'all guessed it, MJ, KD, and Kobe. Which is why at number 3, Kobe Bryant. Kobe models much of his offensive game after Jordan. In terms of bag and aesthetics, it is arguably the GOAT mid-range shot. And his mid-range game was no exception. The turnaround fadeaway, the jab step, the pump fake into a pull-up, Kobe mastered them all. He might not have been quite as efficient as MJ or KD, but Kobe's mid-range skill set was arguably even deeper. This man had a counter for every defense: pivot footwork, pump fake, spin whoops, getting in the post, crossovers, you name it. His game winners in clutch shots, triple threats. His game winners in clutch shots almost always came from around 15 18 feet, give or take, and in. So why number 3? Because Kobe's mid-range arsenal was legendary, but his efficiency sometimes dipped, like I mentioned earlier, compared to MJ and KD. Still, in terms of difficulty and artistry, few could match Kobe's mid-range masterpiece, which was why I had to put him below number 2. Number 2, Kevin Durant. KD is the closest thing we've ever seen to a mid-range cheat code. At nearly 7 feet with a high release, his jumper is literally unblockable. Durant doesn't even need space. He just rises and fires over anyone. Whether in OKC, Golden State, or Brooklyn, especially the latter two, KD's mid-range game has been his bread and butter in terms of a shooter, a shot creator, buckets, efficiency, you name it. His MVP season in 2014 was filled by those pull-ups at the elbow and wing, and even the nail. In the 2021 playoffs, his mid-range shot nearly carried Brooklyn past the Bucks in one of the most iconic playoffs ever, proving why he was by far the best mid-range shooter on the planet at that time, and in my opinion, the best player in the world at that time. Killing the Bucks with his all-around shooting ability. That's it in that playoff run too. So why not number 1? KD might be the most unblockable mid-range shooter ever, but MJ's sheer volume especially consistency and quality over quantity. Then Killer Instinct in finals moments keep him at the top. That's why, like I said, coming in number one, and Michael Jordan starts and ends with MJ. MJ's mid-range jumper wasn't just a weapon; it was a system. Defenders knew it was coming and still couldn't stop it. Whether it was a turnaround fadeaway in the post, the pull-up off a chapstick, or even the ISO jumper at the elbow, MJ's mid-range was pure inevitability. In the 90s, the defenses were more physical. Yeah, that's true. Contrary to what younger fans say, spacing was tighter, and three-point shooting wasn't prioritized just yet. But MJ still dominated scoring, piling up a whopping 10 scoring titles, most of them powered by his mid-range package, especially from 94, 95 on. 95 is on. So why number one? Because of volume, efficiency, aesthetics, and clutch factor in terms of my criteria were unmatched. His jumper killed dynasties, won finals, defeated legends, and remains the standard every score gets compared to. So that is my list, and this is my conclusion. Right? From MJ's fadeaway to KD's unblockable pull-up, from Dirk's one-legger to CP3's pick and roll jumper, mid-range jumper has been the shot of legends and daggers. Even as the three-pointer dominates today's game, the mid-range remains a weapon of pure skill and artistry. I hope you all enjoyed this video and let me and respect the time and craft it took for me to make this type of content for you. My list is capturing the perfect balance of old school masters and modern specialists, proving that while analytics may undervalue it, the mid-range will always be a scorer's canvas. So, who's y'all's favorite mid-range assassin, and where do y'all think rising stars like Shea or D-Book will rank in the future in terms of mid-range shooters in general? I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Let me know if you want to see more content like this below. Did you agree with my rankings? Did you disagree with my rankings? I'll see y'all later. Peace.